All right. Thank you so much for joining me, Garvita and Aditya. First of all, congratulations on winning the national competition in India for Research Got Talent.
Thank you.
I think your project was very beautiful. Would you like to introduce yourselves, maybe?
Yeah. I am Garvita. I am primarily a qualitative researcher, and I am nowadays working with Borderless Access. Previous to that, I am a person who's very much interested in marketing, and market research is one of the aspects where we get to meet people and talk about different layers of that just excites me a lot, and that's why I chose to be a part of such a meaningful initiative, which was to meet such people which we don't usually do. So I love to be around people, to talk to people, and yeah, it's about me.
So, hello, this is Aditya. So I'm from Bangalore and currently I'm working with Kantar, but previously I was working with Borderless Access. So it's been like now 4.5 years in market research industry, and I'm a quant researcher. And it's been great learning with data and all. So how to convert the data into insight, things, stories and all. So nowadays, if you know that this is like online kind of research, but we are also doing face-to-face kind of research where we get chance to go and meet to the people and get the actual insight what we want to make out of that data, right? So that interests me more, and I like, for this purpose, I like market research to understand the market dynamics. Yes.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Then maybe let's get to your project. First of all, maybe would you like to tell me how you decided to go with the Chao Foundation and the background of why you chose it?
Yeah. So while we were searching for the NGOs, what should we do? We came across few articles because we were very actively searching on internet. And when we came across this gruesome gender-based violence in India, which is very much prevalent in some parts of India primarily, we read more about it. And then, so we contacted other NGOs as well for different causes. But when we contacted Chao Foundation, we got a very good response from them. They also wanted to understand a lot of things. And we resonated, both the parties resonated well with each other, because we also got really and it was resonating with what we wanted to do, because we wanted to know more about it, not just with reading the frameworks, legal frameworks, or what are the policies and etc. there in India about it. And we both discussed that we have previously seen some movies also on that, some documentaries also on that. So given the opportunity, we wanted to go all for it, and thankfully they accepted our proposal. And both the parties, they sat and they came to a conclusion that what we really want to do here. Yeah, so that's what it was, one of the major things, because we felt that we both felt that we want to work on this cause, and the NGO also supported us in that. So yeah.
Apart from this, we also talked with different kind of NGOs, but when we talked to Chao Foundation, actually we came to know that there is some gap there, and which they actually need some kind of market research which will help them to fill that gap, fill that white space, and can have a good help for the survivors who are struggling there, and they need some kind of help from us.
Yeah, I think it's a very good cause, and I
Yes.
think you guys made a lot of impact with your project as well. Maybe could you tell me a bit how you went through the process? So how did you start and how you came to the end? Maybe what was your day-to-day? What did it look like?
Yeah, I think this project was anything unlike what we had done before, because most research feels like a professional exercise, but this one felt like a responsibility. When we set out to study the rehabilitation journey of the acid attack survivors in India, we knew that we were stepping into something which was deeply human territory, but the reality far exceeded what we had anticipated. The project went not just well, but it was meaningfully well. Yeah? And we went in with a methodology and came out with something much harder to articulate, because a genuine understanding of what it means to survive, to fight a system that was supposed to protect you, and to still show up every day with dignity and resilience. And so we managed to speak to 120 odd survivors face to face, qualitatively and quantitatively. The qualitative ones were deeply personal ones, and across all the locations, across all the 4 cities. And we managed to maintain an ethical and emotional rigor that subject deserved. So what gave me most satisfaction is that we didn't just complete the research. We delivered findings that Chao Foundation could actually act on. And from expanding their Shiro's Cafe, which is they're one of the premium initiatives of that foundation, to building survivor-led mentorship programs, to designing national awareness campaigns. The research closed a loop. It started with survivors and ended with a roadmap towards their empowerment. And what we enjoy doing the most, like the moments in the field, the documents, the data, the frameworks, they were just to support the study. But the soul of this project lived in those rooms when we were talking to those, survivors. And I remember being at Shiro's Cafe in Agra. There's a place in North India, Agra, where there's Taj Mahal. And we were celebrating a survivor's birthday. In that moment, which was surrounded by laughter, warmth, camaraderie, it hit me. That is what recovery looks like. Not a clinical milestone, not a checkbox on a rehabilitation form, but joy reclaimed. So that was unforgettable for me. I think for both of us, because we both of us were there. And I also deeply valued, speaking to one of the male survivors in one of the centers, which was in Lucknow, part of North India. So someone who accidentally became a victim of an attack, intended for a woman. Because this is a complete gender-biased violence, which is primarily targeted for women. So it shattered every assumption I had brought into the project. And it reminded me how layered and complex the reality of acid violence truly is. So, and then there were other quieter moments also, sitting in their rehabilitation center, watching survivors create handicrafts, watching the Shiro's TV, which is another of their aspect which they're doing, the whole setup coming alive, witnessing people rebuild their identity, and not just their lives. That was the most profound thing I have ever experienced in research.
So apart from this, I would like to add that sitting in the company, in your organization and doing some kind of research for other clients, like for brand health tracker, product test, different things and all, we never thought that we'll get such kind of opportunity to actually understand the people, like actually understand the society, and we can do some kind of research on that. When we came to know about this kind of issues, like for acid attack survivors, we actually felt that yes, we need to do, because every day in newspaper or social media, you'll see some kind of attacks been there, like throughout the world or in India also, right? So now we got the opportunity actually to study that kind of journey, like how it's being done. So we were properly planned, like we did some kind of research before going, so that we can connect with the survivors, right? We can't directly go and talk to them, right? We need to connect with them so that what they want to tell, they can tell us, right? It's not that I'll go and take interview and they'll tell everything, whatever they faced, right? We need to go there, talk to them, sit for some time, have some coffee, play with them. They should feel comfortable and they should trust us, right? Yes, the other person. We should tell the reason that why we are doing this kind of research for you, what they will get out of that, right? So many media people will come, they'll ask, they'll have some conversation, they'll publish somewhere, but nothing will happen. But they'll ask like, what you are going to do for me, right? So once they gain the trust, and then the process started and it went really well. Like we came, like we were like crying there also, like not in front of them, just to go out, and we're thinking like that how they have suffered this kind of situations, right? So this study really helped us a lot to understand their pain point mainly, and to help them, that they helped us.
Yeah,
I think that's also what you beautifully highlighted in your project, that it's you really built the trust first with the survivors so that you can actually understand them.
Yes, right. We built the relationship before we started with the research. So we spent weeks on calls and virtual meetings with Chao Foundation. We also protected the people we were studying, right? The consent was treated as an ongoing living process, not a form signed one. So we conducted informal visits before switching on recorders. We ensured safe locations, survivor familiar environments, and trauma sensitive protocols throughout. We went in, like I will tell you, we went in with no makeup, basic clothes, nothing extra. I mean, and we were consistently making sure that we are looking in the eye when we are talking, because when I will talk to you, I will, like how we talk person to person, because they were able to, because they could sense it easily. If we were looking, if our eyeballs were going to their damaged nose or skin or scars, they were not very comfortable with that, and they know that. Yeah, so it took us also a lot of effort, and we also built in regular team briefs, like Aditya was saying, to process our own emotional weight, because it was not, because you cannot do this work ethically if you are not tending to your own well-being as a researcher. So that was how, and was really insightful and learning for us. Yeah.
Just one small incident I like to add here, that so we made some friend there, okay, kind of like brother, big brother kind of things. Like one of the survivor came out with me just for a round on a road, okay, just to have some street food and all. Like I was a bit curious that she's going with me, what, like if something need to be like protected or something. She was like, brother, don't worry, everything will be fine. I am there. Let people see me. Let them look at me. Whatever. I am there to handle them. Don't worry. So you be happy. Let's go enjoy and then come back. Like they were too much comfortable. And after interview also, they were like about to share anything they wanted, like how it happened, why it happened, what happened, how we can help them, what all kind of help they need from us. And still we are connected. Still they are calling us, they are having a chat, whatever time they want. And that feels great, like awesome, complete. Yeah.
That's very nice to hear as well. You talked already a bit about the Sheroes TV and the possibility of a national campaign. Could you maybe explain a bit more about the outcomes and the kind of next steps that you proposed?
So actually what we did was like, so the next steps, so we suggested them a kind of framework. We wanted to, because there were many highlights of the project. We did a complete roadmap journey. They are on field, they know what they're doing and etc. But it's all scattered. It's all maybe a case-to-case basis. So we gave them recommendations, like survivor mentorship program. We recommended where longer tenured, survivors become accredited educators. We said that of first aid, of legal rights, of emotional recovery. And it came directly from field. So survivors told us that they trusted other survivors more than anyone else. And that insight became a strategic recommendation that Chao is planning to act on immediately. And also one of the valuable things that we did is that frameworks, which we are going to explore next, also in the next phase if we get the chance, is, to have, so there were three things, dignity, empowerment, and support. Yeah. So right now, when most NGOs, including Chao, how do they measure their impact? Yeah. They tend to count things. How many survivors were treated? How many cafes were opened? Yeah. How many legal cases were filed? There are important numbers, but they don't tell you how well a survivor is actually doing as a human being, right? And they measure activity, not outcome, unfortunately. So the research began to do something different. It started to ask that what does it actually look like when a survivor is recovering, and like truly recovering. So in all dimensions of her life. And it identified three core dimensions that defined recovery. In our study, we defined those three, which were dignity, support, and empowerment. And, these aren't just values or aspirations. So our research, what we did is began to unpack them into observable, measurable signs, and that's why we call them as tangible indicators. Why? Because, so I'll explain that. For example, dignity. So there were three pillars: dignity, structure, and empowerment. Dignity, what is it about? It's about a survivor's experience herself and the world around her, right? So the research translates into things that you can actually observe and ask, like, has she regained a sense of self-worth? Does she speak about herself without shame? And can she move through public spaces independently? Like Aditya mentioned, go to a market, take a bus without fear of being stared or, avoided. So has the stigma in her immediate environment, be it neighbors, be it family members, be it employers, how do they treat her differently over time? So dignity is the most intimate pillar, because it lives inside a person, but it shows up in behavior, it shows up in language, in mobility, and that makes it measurable. Secondly, support, which was where systems are actually reaching her and when. So research showed clearly that survivors often technically had access to healthcare, legal aid or whatever compensation, but in practice, these systems failed them, through delays, through unawareness and complexities, right? So support is an indicator, isn't just that did she receive a service? Research then asks, did she receive medical care within a time frame that prevented further damage? Was she aware of her legal rights? Yeah, did she know that she has that there's right FIR sections? Does she know about her compensation provisions? Did she actually receive those compensation, which our research talked about? So support measures the quality and the timelessness of the ecosystem around her, not just her existence. And then the third one, empowerment, is a forward-looking pillar, right? It measures whether a survivor has moved from dependency to an agency, right? So concretely, is she financially independent, or is she still reliant entirely on family or the NGO? Does she have decision-making power in her own life or over her work, her relationship, her future? Attained any employment? Has she become an active agent of change, as we recommended in our research? An active agent of change, perhaps educating others, mentoring new survivors. So empowerment is the ultimate measure of whether rehabilitation has truly succeeded or not. Like, how did it help? Yeah, you want to add anything?
Yeah, so just to add on, like you talked about Ciro's, right? Ciro's Cafe, Ciro's TV and all. So just to let you know, do you know the meaning of Ciro's? What is Ciro's, right? That is some kind of word, like it, like, heroes, right? Heroes, we call someone superstar as hero and all. So Ciro's, SHE. So they said that we are struggling, we are also heroes. So it's Ciro's instead of heroes.
Yeah.
Okay. So that gave them power, like talking only heroes. Yes, I am the hero of my life, right? I can do, I am independent. So whatever happened. Still this is one life. I got chance. I need to make out of it. So if you go to the YouTube and search about Ciro's TV and all, right, there will be some kind of interview. The main thing is that the person who is taking the interview is that girl only who faced that acid attacks challenge. Okay, acid attacks. Okay, so she takes the interview for the heroes. Okay, for the other international superstars or stars and all. Okay, so they come there, they understand their journey, they talk to them, and they don't feel that why I should give interview to them, right? If you'll see some a cricket match or somewhere, right, some good smart people will come for the interview, right, taking mic and all. But they're like, this girl is going and talking and asking, taking interviews, blogs and everything. So no, they are okay with it. They are coming, they are understanding, and they are helping them so that they can be independent, right? They should feel free that, yes, I have all the opportunities even if I am attacked, right? My life is not gone. It's started. I got a second chance. I need to make out of it. Okay. So these all kind of things, like, it helped them and it is helping them to grow further and further.
Yes, yeah. And that restores their dignity. Framework that I was telling you that we prepared and we pitched to the Chao Foundation. How will that framework help Chao is what we boil down to, because that's why we did that research. So right now, Chao has no consistent way to know if their work is working. They know they're doing good. They see it every day, but they cannot prove it to the funders, to policymakers, to government in a way that this is systematic and comparable over time. And so this framework gives them the ability. For the first time, they can track a survivor's progress across all the three dimensions from the moment she enters Chao's ecosystem, and then measure that how that changes in a span of maybe 6 months, 1 year, or 3 years. Secondly, it tells them where to intervene, not just whether to intervene or not. I mean, because the framework maps to specific stages of the survivor journey, as we map the complete journey. So Chao can identify exactly where a survivor is struggling. Is her dignity intact, but her support system is failing? Is she well supported medically, but not yet empowered economically? So the framework acts like a diagnostic, pinpointing the gap rather than just registering a gap that it exists, right? And also it turns survivor stories into evidence for policy advocacy. One of Chao's biggest challenge is influencing government policy on acid sale regulations, on compensation timelines, on hospital treatment protocols. Right now, they advocate from experience and emotion, which matters, but has limits. With this framework, producing data over time, then they can walk into the policy meeting and say, of these many survivors we tracked over 2 years, 67% still have not received full compensation within the mandated time frame. So this what delay caused them in dignity and economic recovery. And so this is a different conversation entirely, but yeah, this is somewhere it'll help. And it also creates a benchmark for the sector, not just only for Chao. Adopts this framework and it works, it becomes a model that other organizations working with survivors of gender-based violence in India and globally, can adapt. So Chao stops being just a service provider and becomes a thought leader, defining how recovery should be measured. So our research gave Chao a shift from counting what they do to measuring what survivors become. And this is the difference between measuring activity and measuring transformation, if that can be called. And that is what this framework can make possible.
So one more thing. So there was one more big gap, which NGO were facing and survivors also. So we covered the journey post-attack, right? But what happened before that when attack happened, right? So NGOs connect with the survivor after the attack. Once they are hospitalized after 2 years, 3 years, when they are thinking they are depressed or something, someone tells them that there is one kind of you can go and join, right? But there was a huge gap. NGO like Chao can track them before, once the attack happened, from that time, that campaign or that awareness should be there. That yes, attack happens. We know our justice and the legal systems are failing, okay. But we have that kind of NGOs like Chao and all. They should, at that time only they should react, right? Once the attack happens, I know I need to call doctor, I need to call NGO too, right? Should be on the priority list. Okay, from there only they should take up that things that yes, now I'm there with you. From there I'll take forward what else can be done, right? So this all gap, now they are thinking about Chao that yes, we should build this kind of awareness campaign and different kind of things so that we can track not only after the attack, but before the attack also. So everyone should know that what all things are there, right? If something happens, we should call them. That's it. Apart from that, one small things when we were doing this research, I saw one article in newspaper that in Haryana, part of India only. So one AC attack survivor went to police for the FIR and all. Police said that it should be you do the settlement, don't need to go up and all. Too much money will be invested, kind of things and all. So take some crores money amount, huge amount, and just close this case. Because they were getting money from both the parties, right? So what they did, but the survivor, they felt that no, I should not stop. Why I should stop, right? If I'll keep quiet today, so everyone will be like that, right? Our sound should go everywhere, right? So they said, no, I don't want to stop. I don't want to take money. I want to go to the court. I want to follow the legal system. I want just. So this is what they feel. So these all things we mapped through this journey.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot of impact you guys have had already. It's very beautiful and very nice. Maybe I could also ask you a bit about some of the challenges you face. You already talked about that it's very emotional to talk to these people, of course, to the survivors. What were some of the challenges you had?
I want, to be very honestly, emotionally, nothing prepares you for sitting across someone as they revisit the worst moment of their lives. Interviews often paused for tears, for silence, for a moment they needed to collect themselves. As researchers, we had to hold both empathy and professional discipline simultaneously to feel what was being shared without crossing that line of going into advocacy or rescue. That line is harder to walk than it sounds. Our team leaned on each other heavily. We both leaned on each other heavily Our regular debriefs and discussions weren't a formality, they were essential for us. So building trust was also a genuine hurdle because many survivors had been let down by people around them, institutions, by legal systems, by promises that evaporated. So they were not going to open up to strangers quickly. And we respected that completely. We made repeated visits without recording tools, just to be present, just to have chai with them, just to be around them, just to talk to them and be consistent, and to show that we weren't there to extract and leave. And that's why they're still in touch with us. Operationally, there were no formal databases to work from. Fieldwork, and also the fieldwork timings, it overlapped with the festive season. So India's primary festive season is the Diwali season, and it overlapped with that. And the inauguration of one of the Delhi Shiro's cafe. So survivors and the Chhanv staff, they were pulled in multiple directions. And there was a lot of traveling involved. So we nowadays we're professionally based out of Bangalore, which is in South India. So we traveled from South to North India. There were 3 locations in North India, and then the 4th location, Kolkata, was in East part of India. So coordinating logistics in real time, etc. We managed that. Language added another layer of challenge because interviews were spanned in regional languages. It were Hindi and Bengali, which is spoken in eastern part of India. And their original experiences carried, meaning that paraphrasing would have lost. So we did the complete conversation in the regional language itself. But I want to say this, clearly, every one of these challenges made the research better. They forced us to slow down, to listen more carefully, to design for people rather than for a process. These were.
So we didn't went there as a researcher, like we were knowing that we are researcher. Okay. But if we'll feel that we are researcher and going to research, right, talking to them, it's like 2 different things, right? We were like normal human, we just want to go and understand their perception things and all. Okay. So to make them comfortable, we need to be comfortable because people, they are working with Chao Foundation, they are already there from many days, right? So they are comfortable, right? We are a new person going, adapting their situation, their environment, staying there, having food with them, talking with them, laugh and everything and all. So it was a huge challenge for us to go and settle down there, right? For everywhere, because location, as he said, were different. Comfortable in speaking, right? In English, whatever language you want. I don't want to talk to you in English only so that you need to answer anything, right? Need to feel that, right? Whatever language you want to talk. Like, India, too many languages are there. After every 1 or 2 kilometers, you'll see a different kind of language, right? But right? So if I'm comfortable with my language, I can explain in far better way, right, than English, right? So that way we made them comfortable. You speak in any language, we talked, we had understanding, and we kind of heard everything what they said. Yes. So we did that.
That's very nice to hear that you overcame all those challenges.
Yeah.
Maybe as a last question, is there anything else you feel like you want to share?
Just want to share that, it was a great experience for us as humans also. Other than all the professional things that we learned, the researchy part is set aside. I think, and when we talk to people who after getting inspired from us, they also want to do such kind of research, we tell them, go with humility, not just curiosity, but with a lot of humbleness. Because you will enter communities that have already been studied, documented, and in some case exploited by well-meaning outsiders. The people you are researching are not data points. They are experts in their own lives, and they are living that life. So approach them as such. Build the relationship before you build the research design. The best thing we did was to spend weeks working alongside Chao Foundation before we ever wrote any survey or any discussion guide or any question, right? And understanding their work, their language, their fears, their vulnerabilities, made every subsequent decision for us sharper and more respectful. Yeah. And lastly, I tell them that take care of yourself and your team, because emotionally demanding research depletes you in ways that you don't always notice in moment, right? And build in space for your team to process what they are carrying like we did. And the quality of The research depends on the quality of our presence, and we cannot be truly present if we are, quietly overwhelmed. You know what I mean? So have to be on that pace, because these things require a lot of rigor and patience.
Apart from this, like, I just want to add, like, after the research and everything was done, I was sitting with Garvita and thinking that it should not be limited till here, right?
Yeah.
And one more thing that so there is Heroes Cafe, Heroes TV and all. They are giving jobs to them, right, to become independent, do the things and all. So things came in my mind that the main motive is that they should be included in the society, right, where they were living before the attack and all, right? So how they should come back, like, so making different school, college and different workplace for them will make them feel like they are like getting separated from the society, right?
Yeah.
So what we can do so that they can come together with us, like everyone, right? Going to the same college, going to the same school, going to the same environment, same society, and feeling like independent. Yes, I'm the same as before, right? I didn't change, nothing changed. It's just a matter of time, and this happened. That is kind of accident. That's it. And this is not that their mindset should change. Like, our as a society, we should change our mindset, right?
Yeah.
We should have that power to accept them, right? Yes, you come, you have a lunch with us, you have dinner with us, you play with us, you come and work with us, right? We are working here. So organization, kind of organization in like civil services, anywhere, like in government services, you come and you work as an employee, as a normal employee. Not you should not have one quota that you are a acid attack survivor and you have one quota, you should go and sit there only, right? You should come and you should open, you should fulfill your dream, right? Before the AC attack, they might have many dreams, right? I want to become pilot, I want to become IPS officers or anything, right? After that attack, no, I don't have anything, I just need to leave. How I will be leaving, depressing and all, Ciro's Cafe or any kind of place I'm going. There are people, but my kind only. I want to live normal life with everyone. That kind of opportunity, like that all things I want, like with this research, if something great can happen, these all things can happen, and that will surely make their life change, right? And this will help not only them, this will help everyone, to us also, to accept society, not only for this kind of incident like acid attack, for other kind of incident also, right? Where the woman or anyone feel like I can't go after the things to the society, right? Everyone should live equally, right, in the society. So these all things are there we wanted to do, and we'll do it.
I hope it creates impact.
Thank you both very much. I think also speaking for the jury, you can be very proud of the work you've done. Also, the videos were very nice, very well explained. So I think the work you've done really nice. So thank you both very much.
If you get chance, come to India and visit Ciro's Cafe and different cafes run by the acid attack survivors and all. It will be great experience. I'm telling you, you'll feel like it's the best place to have sit and talk to them. Yes, this is great.
Yeah, for sure. If I go to India, I will for sure take the chance to visit.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks. It was great talking to you. Thank you so much.